So maybe you could chat. Yeah, we are recording. So if you don't want your screen visible, you can turn it off. And Nisa, let me know when you think we've got a good core of people. You can just chat me and we can get started. But we had at least 60 or 70 already at the outset. So that's a pretty good number. All right. Okay, I think we're in a good spot. Yeah, we're at over 75 people now, it's looking like. So great. Well, we'll get started. Thank you all for being here. In case you're not sure if you're in the right place, that the screen should indicate we're here to talk about the Mortgage Credit Certificate Program, an info session today. And we're putting it on via CIC, Community Investment Corporation. I'm Nick Henry. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer here. Been working at CIC for about 4 years now. And as always, we want to tell you just a little bit about ourselves and what CIC is. So if I could get to the next slide. Yeah, so CIC is Community Investment Corporation. That's who we are. And just really briefly, we'll make this short. We don't want to waste too much of your time because we really want to dive into the MCC stuff. But just briefly, we're a financial empowerment nonprofit. And our goal is to give members of the community who are shut out and left behind by the economy the access to the knowledge and financing that they need to pursue new opportunities. So that may sound a little vague. So just to give you a couple examples, one of those big areas is housing, which is why we're all here today. We're going to dive in really deep into mortgage credit certificate. We do a couple other things in the housing space. We're just finishing it up, but we've been, for the last 2 years, we've been running a pretty large eviction prevention program for renters under the pandemic in partnership with City of Tucson, and have distributed about $65 million in the last couple of years. We have a couple down payment assistance programs, which we won't get into much today, but Patty, who you'll meet in a moment, also runs that. We also have an arm that works with small businesses in our community. We're kind of an alternative lender for small businesses that wouldn't otherwise qualify for a loan with a bank. So helping those folks grow their businesses. And in particular, we have a BIPOC loan fund, which is really cool. We have a committee of BIPOC entrepreneurs who are making the decisions around what happens with this financing and helping fund their peers in this space. And then finally, we have an education arm. We're working with schools, we're working with families. We do some stuff in finance in that area with schools that are using bonds to get up and running. We do lending for schools, and then we work with families to help them understand what is available to them in terms of resources and schools in their area. So those are kind of the big three areas. But again, we want to get you right into MCC. So I'm going to just very high level tell you, MCC is a great opportunity for first-time home buyers. And there's a little asterisk on first-time home buyers because there's a specific definition that's actually a little squishy. Patty will get into that later. But it's a great opportunity for folks to save up to $2,000 annually on their taxes when they purchase a home. So again, helping the community, folks who maybe otherwise wouldn't be able to afford a house, folks who are left behind by the economy. There's a great opportunity for them to get into a house that they maybe couldn't afford. It's a great opportunity for you as lenders to help those folks out as well, and realtors as well. So we're kind of working with a few different groups here. I'm going to turn it over to Patty right now. So Patty Gonzalez is our Director of Housing Programs. She has been doing this for a long time. She's been running the MCC program since 1995. So she knows basically everything there is to know about MCC. She's been doing it down here in Pima County this entire time, and we are now expanding across the state. So Patty's going to tell you a little bit about that right now. Take it away, Patty.
Great, thanks. Thank you, Nick. Again, Patty, Director of Housing Programs. I've personally been with CIC for almost 5 years now. The program has been around a very long time. I've been administering it since 1995, so it's kind of my baby. So I'm glad you guys took the time to be here with us today and help us get the word spread out about this MCC program. because there's plenty of funding, and I have plenty of funding to at least the year 2025. So a lot of funding available, and we're appreciate you again being here to help us get the word out. First thing we wanted to mention again that the program is available statewide. It had been available only in Pima County for many years, but again, trying to get it out to all the counties. We've listed here all the different counties, and program is available. Okay, so what is a mortgage credit certificate? You'll hear us refer to it a lot by MCC program, and the MCC program allows borrowers to claim a tax credit that reduces their federal tax liability, saving them money on their income tax returns. MCCs are issued by the Pima County Industrial Development Authority, so the Pima County IDA. They've actually been funding the program since 1991. And the program allows program participants to claim a federal tax credit of 40% of the mortgage interest paid during a given tax year up to $2,000. These credits can be claimed year after year as long as the borrower lives in the home and holds a mortgage. If for some reason the MCC recipient does not have a federal tax liability in any particular year, which we saw a lot right now during COVID, people are not even filing income tax returns because they didn't have income. And so if they were not able to claim the credit can actually be carried over for 3 years. And something else we wanted to mention is the question that comes up often is if they get into this program and they get the certificate with the mortgage at the time, refinancing is allowed and the homeowner gets to keep the certificate. So the difference, we want to touch a little bit of the difference between your tax deductions versus your tax credits. Okay, a tax deduction reduces how much of your income is subject to taxes. Deductions lower your taxable income, and we'll talk about that when we go over the sample tax return. And a tax credit directly reduces the amount of the tax you owe. So it's giving you a dollar for dollar reduction off your tax liability. So similar to your child tax credit, earned income tax credit, education credits, this is a housing credit. So this means that a $2,000 tax credit saves you $2,000 in taxes. So which are better? Tax credits are better because they save borrowers more money. How the mortgage credit certificate works. So applicants must apply for the MCC prior to closing. So this is important that we try to get the word out to your home buyers that they do need to apply prior to closing. If approved, they pay a fee and are provided a paper certificate that can be used to claim a yearly credit on their federal tax returns for up to 30 years. So once they're in the program, they're going to hear from us every January, and we're going to get them everything they need in order to claim this credit on their tax returns. So real quickly here on this example, at the bottom, you have a loan amount of $125,000 at 4% interest rate. Everyone that purchases a home is borrowing a mortgage. Most people are going to have a mortgage, and the interest that they pay in this example, 4%, they're going to pay $5,000 in just interest alone. What this program is going to do is allow them to claim 40% of that credit as 40% of the interest as a tax credit. So in this example, $2,000 is what they'll be seeing as a tax credit. So collective savings for the 30-year mortgage, on average, we see people will save over $50,000 on a $200,000 mortgage at 5% interest. So I know this is kind of small to see, but you'll see over the life of the mortgage, and we'll discuss this when we meet with your home buyers, how they're going to benefit every year. So on the example to the right, you'll see the second column, there's a loan amount of $275,000 at 5%. That interest paid is talking about the interest that they're going to be paying. 40% of that interest paid is the dollar amount that's listed, but you'll see there that MCC credit will cap them at $2,000. Okay, the tax credit is capped at $2,000, but over the life of the mortgage, they will be seeing over $50,000 worth of a credit. Here's an example on a tax return, also very tiny. So I'm just going to kind of cover the figures that are listed there. So you'll see in the first example is before an MCC tax credit and after. So on the first line, you'll see this particular person makes $32,968. So these are the exact same person here. Based off their deductions and any other credits, IRS is going to tell them, based off your income, we want from you $2,930. So that's what you're seeing there on the figure. I'm not sure what line it is because it's so small, 47, okay, 2,930. Now these people didn't have the MCC credit, so you'll see 0 tax credits. So what IRS is saying, okay, based off your 32,000, we want $2,900 from you, almost $3,000. This particular person had withheld from their pay stubs 3,027. Okay, so that's why this person got a refund of $97. IRS wanted $2,930. They had 3,027 withheld, so their refund is $97. On the example right next to it, same person, you'll see their income was 32,968. Their tax liability is 2,930, meaning that's what IRS wants from them. Now, when you plug in this $2,000 credit, IRS is saying, okay, now we only need from you $930. This same person still withheld 3,027 from their pay stubs. So that's why their refund is now 2,097. So it truly is a dollar for dollar tax credit. What we advise when we work with the home buyers, we will go over this example with them on their tax returns, because they can either see the benefit as a refund in this particular case, or we can advise them, well, we'll inform them, maybe you don't need to have as much money taken out of your pay stubs because you're going to have this credit available to you. And we'll show you later on why we advise the home buyer to not have as much taken out of their pay stub. Okay. So the program geography, the residential properties are anywhere in the state of Arizona. Again, now available in Maricopa County. There are particular areas that are considered target areas. What are considered target areas are economically distressed areas where homeownership is highly encouraged in order to improve neighborhood conditions. Okay, so the plus on purchasing in a target area is the income limits are higher, purchase price limits are higher. You do not have to be a first-time home buyer. So there's a couple perks when you're purchasing in targeted areas. On our website, you'll see what census tracts are actually considered target areas. And if you go to our website, you'll find out if a particular property is in a target area. MCC program eligibility. Okay, so Nick talked about this a little bit earlier, first-time home buyers only. What a first-time home buyer means is that they've not owned a home in the last 3 years. There is an exception to this. If the home buyer is a veteran or if they're buying in a target area, they do not have to be a first-time home buyer. We work with all home types, so single family, manufactured, condos, duplex, townhouses. We work with all loans, okay, your FHA, VA, USDA, conventional. It can be layered with down payment assistance programs, so we don't get involved in the loan process at all or looking necessarily at the loan product itself. There are household income and purchase price limits, and those are based per county. So in the example you'll see there on the right, the very top one is all Arizona counties. This particular example happens to be Pima County. So a family of 1 to 2 is non-target is 82,800. If they happen to find a target area, you'll see that the income limits increase quite a bit to 99,000. So that's again the plus of purchasing in a target area. And the purchase price limit example in Pima County for new and existing, so we do work with new construction homes, non-target is almost 350,000, and if you're buying in a targeted area, 427,000. So again, the incentive of purchasing in a target area. And again, you can look it up, or if you need to send us an address, we can look up to see if that particular property is in a targeted census tract. So there is a fee to get into the program. There's a one-time program fee. If it is possible, we would like it collected at closing, but we do offer payment plans because again, we do not want to slow down the closing process. And we know once those CDs get issued, we don't want to have to get you loan approval again. So it is something that we can make payment plans. And right now the payment plans are up to 6 months. Right now, since we're already practically September, they will have the rest of this year to finish making their payment plan because we want to make sure they have their certificate by the time they file tax returns in January. And then there's an annual renewal fee. This $100 renewal fee will not technically kick in until they actually start seeing the $2,000 tax credit. So this is due the year following the home purchase. Again, it's going to be prorated, but we're going to sit down with the buyer, make sure they claim the credit, that they're actually seeing the benefit, and then that's when they renew the fee. If for some reason they are not able to claim the credit, we talked about earlier, if they don't claim it, it rolls over. But if they did not claim it on their tax return any particular year, they are not required to pay this $100 fee. We will waive the fee for the year that they do not claim the credit. The fee supports administrative expenses. For CIC, we do IRS reporting on a quarterly and an annual basis. We distribute the tax form to the home buyer, program maintenance and such refinancing. We also offer free tax preparation to certificate holders, because even your tax preparers will let the home buyers know we're not putting your home on your tax returns, and they're usually referring to writing off the interest as a deduction. So this is why we want to make sure the home buyer is aware that the program does get utilized on their tax returns. So again, here's an example of how the program is going to work. The first example is the one we use when we're talking to your home buyers. You have a loan amount of $125,000 at 4% interest. They're going to pay $5,000 in just interest alone. Again, the $5,000 is what they write off as a deduction. The program will give them 40% of the interest they pay as a tax credit. So the $2,000 is a tax credit. And again, the important piece is that it's good for 30 years. So as long as they're paying interest. When we're working with your mortgage lenders or helping the buyer get qualified for their mortgage, this particular $2,000 credit, the lender can divide that $2,000 by 12 months, which equals $166 a month. What your mortgage lender can do is they can consider that $166 as extra income, and they actually include it on their the uniform residential loan application, or what we refer to also as a 1003, 1008, where they source the home buyer's income. And there's actually a drop box that's called mortgage credit certificate. And what this 166 does, quite often, the lenders will use the program, is if you're having racial issues, if your home buyer has too much debt or not enough income to qualify for the prices of the home in today's market, this will helping them qualify for more mortgage or more purchase price. And it also will offset any debts they might be carrying. When we talk with your home buyer, at the bottom part, we show them, okay, now that you have this $2,000 credit, when we're showing them the example on your tax return, we let them know this $2,000 divided bi-weekly. If they're paid bi-weekly, we would let them know if you'd rather see the credit come to you monthly as opposed to on your tax returns, because you don't need to have as much money taken out of your tax returns. We give them this example. If you're paid bi-weekly, you want to go talk to your employer and say, I'd like to take home approximately $80 more a paycheck. So now we're looking at more money on their paycheck. So that will make the mortgage payment more affordable. Okay, so that's also a plus when you're enrolling your home buyer into these programs, is it helps you on your tax returns, but if you adjust your withholdings, it'll help you, make that mortgage payment more comfortable. And when we're talking with your real estate agents, we talk about this additional income equals more house. Okay, we've seen when the interest rates were a little lower, this extra income could equal almost $20,000 more home. Okay, so more buying power. Okay. So just recap here, we wanted to meet the home ownership team, wanted to express that the MCC program has its own team. It has myself, and then Mario and Suzanne are always available. Well, not always, but we're available to help with any questions. They really just monitor the MCC program. So, any questions you might have, we have details here about the website where you can find the application. You can also upload the application. The MCC program has its own email that's monitored regularly by Suzanne, and then it has its own phone number. So anytime there's specific MCC questions, or there's always the how quick can you turn this around, because there is a staff dedicated just to MCCs, we can turn it around usually within 24 hours. And it's also, if your home buyer wants to make an appointment the same day over the phone, they want to come into our office, if they happen to be in Tucson, we're available to get them seen pretty quickly and approved and in the program. So why should I recommend MCCs to my borrowers? So it helps the home buyer qualify for a higher loan limit. Okay, that's big right now with interest rates being higher and prices being higher. Okay, so that's where MCC has been very impacting right now is with today's market. Okay, for your home buyer, once they're in the home, it's over $50,000 worth of savings over the 30 years. And so even more savings if the loan amount is greater. Okay, so as long as they're getting that $2,000 every year for the next 30 years. CIC will feature you on social media channels. So we do shout outs all the time, especially to the lenders or the realtors that are sending us a lot of referrals. We get a lot of, we interview the home buyers. They always have great things to say. So we share that information on our social media channels. It's a unique opportunity to help Arizona residents. Okay, Pima County IDA program is one of only a handful of programs in the country that provide this particular program. I want to say there's maybe 2 other states that offer the MCC program. So this is not available everywhere. And now it's actually available in the entire state of Arizona through the funding of the Pima County IDA. There's no class required for the home buyer. It will not slow down the buying process. Okay, so that's always, the big question is, a lot of people don't necessarily talk about the program because there's already enough going on in the buying process. So we just want to, emphasize that we try to make it as easy as possible, and we do and meet with your home buyers and explain the entire process with them. And then again, happy home buyers equals more referrals. Okay, especially once they're filing their tax returns and they see this $2,000, they would have probably not been aware of the program if it wasn't for you referring the program to them. So how to share with interested home buyers. Okay, so we understand that explaining the benefit of the program can be tricky. So we have a quick video that we can share with you to share with your home buyers. Just because, it is hard to explain tax returns and deductions and credits. Once we get to speak with the home buyer and go over it specifically for them with their particular tax returns, then they actually say, oh, okay, now I see the benefit. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible of how to share this program and not make it too complicated or slow down the process. So Nisa will be sharing our video.
Are you buying a home? Would you like to save up to $50,000 over the life of your mortgage? If you are a first-time home buyer or a U.S. military veteran home buyer, enrolling in the Mortgage Credit Certificate Program from Community Investment Corporation can help you save up to $2,000 per year. How? A Mortgage Credit Certificate, or MCC, allows homeowners to claim a special tax credit every year, reducing the amount of their federal income tax. This is not a tax deduction, but a dollar-for-dollar tax credit. Homeowners can claim 40% of what they've paid in mortgage interest throughout the year back on their taxes, up to $2,000. This tax credit is available every year that you continue to hold a mortgage and live in the home. It can add up to a savings of over $50,000. Let's take a look at how it works. After calculating your taxes, suppose that you owe $3,000 in federal tax. With the MCC program, you can take a credit up to $2,000 against these taxes, reducing the amount that you owe to just $1,000. It's that easy, even if you are owed a tax refund. For example, let's say you owed that $3,000 in federal taxes, but $5,000 was withheld from your paychecks throughout the year. Normally, you would be owed a tax refund of $2,000. But with an MCC, you can still claim up to $2,000 against your taxes, which increases your refund to $4,000 instead. And saving money isn't the only benefit. Enrolling in the Mortgage Credit Certificate Program can also increase your buying power when qualifying for a home loan, helping you to purchase a home that might have been out of your price range before. Talk to your mortgage loan officer to see if this is an option for you. So, who can enroll in the MCC program? There are a few qualifications you must meet. First, you must be purchasing a home in the state of Arizona. Second, you must be either a first-time home buyer, which means you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years, or you must be a U.S. military veteran. And finally, your annual income and the purchase price of the home must fall below certain limits. These limits may vary by county, and the most up-to-date information about program limits is available online. If you think you will qualify for the MCC program, visit our website to apply. Applications must be received before you close on your home. Learn more at cictucson.org/MCC. The CIC stands for Community Investment Corporation. We are a financial empowerment nonprofit, and our mission is to give all members of our community access to the knowledge and financing they need to pursue new opportunities. The Mortgage Credit Certificate Program does just that. With an MCC, first-time and veteran homebuyers can put more money in their pockets for years to come.
Okay, so I saw a good question in there about the Spanish. There is the videos are available in Spanish, our website, our application, everything is translated into Spanish. So that was an excellent question. The video is about 2 minutes long, so it's not very long at all. And when people are applying for the program, we actually send out a scripted email that talks about, here's the application, here's how to fill out the application. So we actually have a video with instructions on how to fill out the application if you're not able to come in and meet with us directly. But we also have that video that gets attached, and it's available on our website everywhere, to kind of learn about the program without just reading through our scripted flyers and such. Okay, well, we'll open it to questions. I see there's some things going on in the chat there, and people, I believe, are responding. If you guys can let me know if there's anything that's pending.
Hey, Patty.
Answer. Yeah.
There was one question. I don't know if the person wants more clarification, but they said, is this only applicable at origination, purchase, or refinance, or can current homeowners take advantage of this credit too?
Only at the time of purchase. So they have to apply prior to closing. They can keep it if they do refinance, but they can't get into the program if they're refinancing a purchase that already happened.
Thank you. Then there was another one that says, how soon should a borrower be contacting CIC to get approved?
They can't fill out the application until there's an actual property. So until they're in contract, they can contact us at any point and we'll review the program with them on their tax returns just so they understand the benefit. But the application happens when there is a property selected. And again, because there's staff just dedicated to this program, as long as they can schedule an appointment with us, and we're usually available same day, if not the next day, or they can upload it and do the application on their own with just watching the video. As soon as they get that application turned in along with their tax returns, we can issue an approval within 24 hours. So the process happens pretty quickly around here.
Nice. Another one asks, what documentation do clients get once they are approved for the program?
So once they're approved for the program, we actually issue an approval letter, and that goes out to the home buyer and the lender, letting them know that they've submitted their application and the necessary paperwork. Here's an approval letter, and with instructions that happened up until closing. And then once they close, and if the fee is collected or whenever the fee is paid, we actually issue a certificate. And that certificate is what entitles them to claim the credit for the next 30 years. Plus, they'll hear from us every January saying it's time to claim your credit.
And the next question is there a connection for Maricopa County borrowers?
Well, the program is available. So although it's funded through the Pima County Industrial Development Authority, the funds can be spent in the entire state. So Maricopa has given us the green light to go ahead and issue certificates in their county.
The next question is there someone there to speak to the clients in Spanish?
Yes, there is.
And how long does it take to find out if they're approved? It sounded like 24 hours.
Correct. They'll know usually the same day when they do their appointment if they turned everything in. Again, as long as they meet the income limit and the purchase price limits, pretty much everyone tends to qualify.
Okay. And what are the paperwork requirements for processors? What are the steps and items needed during the processing time?
So in the process, when they are approved for the program, there is documentation that will go out to the lender or to the processor. And essentially when closing time is approaching, we need their closing document, which is actually the closing disclosure, the CD or the final 1003, because it's that particular document that's going to give us the final loan amount, the final purchase price to make sure that they still qualify. And then again, we use that closing paperwork to certify that the credit is going to go to this particular mortgage at the time of closing.
And this question says, if we are pre-qualifying clients for the program and we want to confirm they qualify for this prior to searching for a house, due to DTI issues or limitations, how do we confirm beforehand if they do not yet have a contract? This person likes to get their clients fully pre-approved prior.
Yeah, so basically what we're going to be looking at is that they meet the income limits. And once they start shopping, they just can't buy something more than the purchase price limits. But yes, we can issue like a conditional approval letter that, you know, we've met with the buyer, we've looked at their tax returns so they understand how the program works. And essentially, we know that they meet the income limits. So as long as they find a home that's under the price limits, it's pretty much a go. But we can look at issuing a conditional approval prior to getting into contract.
This person is asking if you could please explain one more time how the credit can be applied as extra income. I believe you mentioned, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so in that example, what a mortgage lender is going to do is pretty much everybody's capped at $2,000. And what the lender is going to do is they'll divide that $2,000 by 12 months. It equals $166.67. So that's the actual dollar amount that your lender is going to be putting into their loan application. There's an actual document when the buyer is applying. It's a loan application where they state what their income is. This falls under as additional income, just like you would child support, Social Security income, and other source of income. MCC is an other source of income.
Gotcha. Is there an office in Maricopa that a client can go to if they cannot complete the application online?
There is not an office in Maricopa. Again, we're here in Tucson, but it's something we'll do via Zoom or we'll meet with them over the phone. We definitely find a way to make it work so that we can share, video so they see exactly, what's happening in the process. So, we've always found a way to make it work. We don't want people to be confused with the application process at all, especially when it comes to tax returns.
How many years of tax returns do you need?
We collect 3 years of tax returns, three federal income tax returns.
And what documentation will the clients need to take with them for their consultation?
It will be just the 3 years of tax returns. So we have the application, or we will email it to them, which is the one that they can email back to us. They can upload it, or when they come in to meet with us, we'll fill it out with them together. But really all they need in order to apply is the 3 years of tax returns.
How long does it take you to approve a buyer? I think, is that 24 hours?
Yes, it happens very quickly.
Very quickly. Does the MCC dollar amount included in the max income limit, or let's see. I'm not sure how to word that question.
The question probably is, I don't see it, but it's probably because when you use that MCC income as income, it's a alternative income, we'll say. But for our income limits, if they're using that 166 as income, we're not going to count it against them when they're qualifying. So they won't exceed the income limit because of this extra 166. Okay. And that applies, this question comes up often actually, that also applies when the buyer's applying for down payment assistance. The fundings, the down payment assistance programs do not have to count that as household income because it's truly a credit. It's not real income.
Okay. I think, does that answer this question? It is, to confirm, it is household income, not applicant income?
It is, it falls under additional source. So it's not an alternative. It's still an income. It actually has a drop box, but I know it falls when you're doing income qualification, it falls under other, where your child support income, Social Security income. So it's another source of income. Additional sources of income is where it actually falls.
I think this question might be in reference to the income limits for people to qualify for the MCC program. So I think the person might be asking the $2,000 that they're getting from this, does that then up their income so that they're no longer qualifying
Yeah,
for the
no, so,
program?
yeah, so so that was similar. So earlier, when they used the 166 on the loan itself, we are not going to use it
Actually,
ourselves.
if I
nor
could
them.
clarify, since it was my question.
Okay,
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you. The first question you did answer, if the 166, 67 you used above and beyond the income limits, so it doesn't knock them over.
Right.
You did explain that. The second question is, if you have a non-borrowing spouse, is their income included in the household? Are you using household income or using the applicant's income
we're
to
using
qualify to go
household.
above?
We're
Thank you.
using household, especially if they're filing tax returns together. Because since we collect the 3 years of tax returns, we're looking at,
And what if they don't have 3 years of tax returns?
it's fine. There's a forms that they sign that certifies they were not required to file. Now, if they just can't find them, we give them they get transcripts, where lenders also get transcripts, and we will collect the lender transcripts, and that's fine.
There's a question related to that. Why are 3 years of taxes needed?
The main reason is because we want to make sure they've not owned a home in the last 3 years. So what we're looking for on those tax returns is that they're not writing off interest as a deduction.
Okay. Can you please explain the target and non-target areas limit?
So the target is considered economically distressed areas. So they're trying to incentivize people to purchase there. So if you happen to be buying in what they call economically distressed areas, the incentive to purchase in that particular targeted census tract, it's based off a census tract. The incentive, again, is you do not have to be a first-time home buyer, and the income limit and purchase price limits are higher.
If there are two borrowers, do they get 166, 67 income credit for both borrowers?
No, so the credit, the full credit is maxed at $2,000. This comes up all the time. So if you're doing separate loan applications, you would split it, the 166. This also comes up when you have people that are applying together. So we'll say you have siblings applying together. The question will always be, who gets to claim the credit? The answer is whoever's going to claim the interest that's being paid, or your tax preparer, our tax preparers will advise them who could use the credit more. So again, so your higher income credit, your higher income buyer would benefit from the credit more than not as high as an income. Or they might say, since you're claiming children and you have child tax credits, this person should claim the housing credit. So it can be split, or at the time it'd be determined who would benefit from it more.
Gotcha. Does the lender need to collect the tax returns as well?
They do not. They can send them directly to us, the home buyer.
Do all 3 years of returns have to be below the housing income limit?
They do not have to be below the income. You know, we know life happens, or people were previously married and there is joint returns and such. So no, we're really looking at the last year. We can take an average of the last year, and then we're looking at what the lender's using to qualify on the loan application.
And will you approve them for the MCC if their tax liability is less than $2,000?
Everyone gets approved for the MCC based off they could have no liability. But there's not to say they might someday. Okay, we get that often, that we have people that have retired or just have Social Security income. And a lot of people do, or not a lot of people, but some people will go back to work and they will have taxable income, or they may marry or file tax returns with someone that has taxable income. So we won't deny the credit.
Gotcha. Are non-occupying co-borrowers allowable?
They are not allowed, and that's usually because they don't typically meet the requirements. So it's, you know, we're usually looking at who's in the loan, who's going to be living, who's on the loan, and who's going to be living in the home, because we have that come up again a lot where your parents are co-signing. And the parents, we have to look at their income, and they typically would own a home, so they don't meet the requirements.
Those are all the questions I saw. Oh, another one came up. Does the website show the targeted and non-targeted areas per counties?
Yes, so there's census tracts. So there's a way to look up the address and determine what the census tract is for that address. And then we have a list of these particular census tracts are considered target. And that's something we can help with you guys with you also, so you can send us the address and we can determine it for you.
That's all the questions that are in there for now. I think if anybody wants to ask more, they're welcome to unmute.
There's the question.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's the max purchase price again?
Depending on the county. So I have that here in front of me. So in Pima County.
Could you take us back to that slide real quick, Nisa?
Yeah, so Pima County.
Are you buying a
Almost 350,000 in a non-target. 427,000 in a target area. So you'll see there, and then Coconino, 351, and the target's 429, and Maricopa and Pinal is 366, which I know is difficult. It's hard to find a home in Maricopa or even Pinal anymore under that price limit, but these limits actually just went up. They're federal limits, and it's something that goes up annually, but that one just happened to come up. So that's not something that's going to be increasing anytime soon. So that's actually a big concern for us right now. That's why the program's been a little slow. It's because the price limits exceed the limits. And then on the last slide, what it talked a little bit more about, again, everything can be found on our website. The MCC has its own email that's monitored by just an MCC employee, that this is MCC is their entire job. So we've dedicated a lot of staff and resources to the particular program. Again, it has its own phone number, and we are actually, or I'm available to actually go and host training. So if you want to, for instance, if your mortgage staff or your realtor staff or lunch and learns, things like that, or if you're presenting to a home ownership group, we're available to go and do a training about the MCC program. And it could be as long as this one, 30 minutes, or it could be 10 minutes, and we just give the quick details about the program and not go into the specifics about here's the tax return. It's more of the program qualifications. And then after this, there's actually going to be a survey that's going to be going out, because we're trying to, again, help spread the word. And there's been plenty of funding, and the program's been fairly slow, but again, the market affects that also. So the survey that's going to be going out is going to help us determine what's the best way to get the word out about the program. Whether it's we keep holding these information sessions, or later on we can have this session on the MCC and the down payment assistance programs that are available. There is a form of down payment assistance in every county, and this program can be combined with all those programs and any loan. So, this is something that everyone essentially should be getting the program. There isn't really any reason unless they don't qualify, specifically, mostly because of the purchase price limits or the income limits. And then again, with the realtors, when they qualify, with this 166, that means more house, which is a big deal right now with the prices, so maybe they need just that extra push to get them to qualify for that particular price or that home that they're looking to make an offer on. So yeah, the survey will help us determine, if you want to do more in person, and I can go to your offices or hold these regularly, or if it's a newsletter, that'd be very helpful for us to get, help us get the word out, especially in the entire state. We can go to Flagstaff, we can go wherever, just to kind of talk about the program and share the word.
Patty,
Thank you, Patty.
I think Jeanette was going to bring up two more questions, right, Jeanette?
Yeah. It looks like a couple of people would like a recording of the video, which is great. So I'm glad we recorded it. And there's a question that says, can the payment be paid at closing, or does it need to be paid up front?
So the payment is I'll go with the payment first. The payment is usually, if it's collected at closing, that's when it can be paid to us. The home buyer can pay it up front either way. And if for some reason the deal falls through, we'll give them their money back. Or if it's not collected at closing and they do close, then we'll work with the buyer to get that fee. It's just we need the fee in order to issue the certificate. So that's just if they get into a payment plan, they won't get an actual certificate till it's paid in full. The other question was,
Copy of the recording.
oh yes, sorry. Yes, so everyone that registered will actually be getting a follow-up email, and it will include a copy of the recording, the slides. And it will also include this slideshow that we went through, the video that we showed you. And again, the income limit, the purchase price limits, so the program requirements, and this MCC email, again, all the communication can happen through there. The application process happens through there. So all that will follow up after this presentation. Okay.
Thanks
well,
also to Jeanette. Both our employee Jeanette is monitoring the chat, but for some reason something weird happened with Zoom, and several other people got named Jeanette. So for whoever you are out there asking questions, we really appreciate your interest in the program, all the interest and engagement, and good questions.
Yes, this was a great session, a great turnout. We appreciate, again, you guys taking your time to be here and let us know what we can do to work with everybody.